So obviously we've had a week without a game. What's training looked like and how's it been shaping up?
I just said about not asking that question because now we're going to end up rolling into how the week is. Nobody knows what day it is.
Yeah.
Other than we're working backwards, if you know what I mean. So really, today is our Tuesday. I suppose in a way it's been, nice to not have a game and have a little bit of a break because we haven't really had one of them. So yeah, I mean, I suppose the mental side of it is good. The lads got a couple of extra days off at the beginning of the week, which they've earned, and with a view to what we've got ahead of us.
And a break as well, I suppose, going into a busier period as well. It's a nice time for it to have fallen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there would have been too much different to what we would have done anyway, even if the game at Peterborough would have been on. But I think that weekend, to try and get a game on, as we saw as the day progressed, it was probably good when the game was called off when it was. You've only had to look at, Cambridge, for instance, who ended up going all the way to Fleetwood before it was called off. So, thankfully ours was called off early enough. And then what we did, it was called off when we were training. So when it was called off, we were then able to do a double session. So we'd done a double session on Friday that we wouldn't have been able to do anyway.
And when you don't have a game, do you do more of an intense session to kind of replicate what would have been the game?
We would have done normally, but what we had ahead, we couldn't do it any more intense than we did it on the Friday afternoon. But what would have happened is we probably would have done more intense on the Saturday. So I think really spreading it over that day enabled the players to go, and we've got a few lads that have got family dotted around the country. And I thought it was a great opportunity for them to go and see their families, because they're not going to see them over Christmas because, well, we're basically in all over Christmas. So there's not going to be those opportunities. So it was really good to be able to give them that time to go and see their families. And I think they've all enjoyed themselves and come back with a spring in their step.
Yeah, you've just mentioned they're going into a busy period. What does that kind of shape up like when you've got a game Boxing Day, 29th and New Year's Day? How do you kind of go around that?
That is difficult as it was for you to say it all then in one hit. Everybody knows. I mean, it's traditional, the festive period here. We understand that. And if you're involved in football, you have to accept it. I'll bet you Dan Udo and Nursey would give their right arm to be training on Christmas Day and playing on Boxing Day. So, it is what it is in football. You've got to take the rough with the smooth. And the fact that you're in over Christmas, really, it doesn't make a lot of difference, to be honest. You're in, and we'll probably train earlier, Christmas Day. But other than that, nothing's going to change, really.
And obviously, the fans always love Boxing Day, but do you enjoy working that kind of Christmas period?
Yeah, I don't mind. You've got a choice. You can either not work or be in work doing it. And the thing is, when you're not working, you spend all your time Christmas Day thinking about what you would have been doing if you had been working. So there's no point in trying to complain about anything now.
And what does it look like for you? Do you still get to spend some time with the family on Christmas Day?
Well, the girls are in Bournemouth anyway, so, to see them is nearly going to be always modern FaceTime, isn't it? So that's probably what will happen then. But that's okay, they have their own lives and all of that now, so they're a bit older, my girls. It's not like they're kids or teenagers anymore, so I'm sure they'll have a great day, and a few surprise presents will be coming their way this week.
Well, hopefully 3 points at Cambridge, that'd be a nice present.
That would be great for everybody, but what we've got to do, I mean, I really like Cambridge. I like the people that are involved in the running the club. I like the manager. I like quite a few of their players. So yeah, I think they've done great last year. I think Mark did a brilliant job, and he's equally doing just as good a job this year, even though last year he'll be getting more plaudits than he's probably getting this year. But I think he's done a terrific job there. And yeah, listen, obviously I hope we win the game, but Cambridge, I think, good club. And good people, good CEO, good manager, good group of staff, good group of players. So full respect to them, and we know it'll be a tough game.
And Christmas is always used in the media and by people as like the marker. Where are you on Christmas Day? Where are you in the table? Do you look at that? Do you set any markers, or do you just take it by as it comes?
Not by Christmas Day, I wouldn't be. You know, I think we've had this conversation before, that if there's any way we measure games, we might measure it over the block of 3 or a block of 6 games. But I don't even think we've done that too much here. I think it's been very much about what's the next game. It's very difficult when you have a smaller squad. It's difficult to plan what can happen in 6 games, because the players that you can lose in 6 games would end up decimating us. We've seen what's happened with the injuries that we've got now, you know, and how light we are. But I think probably the best way to treat it is, we actually mentioned this morning, how do we look at these 3 games? And first of all, what we said is we look no further than Cambridge, because we can't afford to do that here.
And I had a quick look at the table from this time last season. I think you were 18th at this point, so 7 places better off than you were. It's real progress that's been happening here.
I think there was progress from the year before that as well. But what happens is, and I've said this before, quite often you get people shouting in the background when you're doing an interview. What was the question again? Progress. I think there was progress, but sometimes it doesn't always show it in the league table. I think there's a fair bit of progress that's gone on, I would say, for a couple of years, because that's when I've been here, but that's the start of sorting things out, really. But we've not got our head in the clouds, and we've got to make sure that we all understand here at this football club how hard a work it's been. So when you see those 7 places, I mean, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? You know, if I'd have come in and we would have been 11th, and then we built on top of that, and then we'd be 4th, then everybody would be getting excited. So I think we're all pretty level-headed, feet on the ground, honest and hard-working. And that's the way it's got to stay. We mustn't change that.
And to be just 3 points outside of the playoffs with the problems you've had with injuries as well, it's a big achievement for, like you say, for the people that are here.
100%. Big achievement by the players, really. That's what it is. It's a big achievement by them, because they're the ones that have got to go out there every week and do the business. And to be fair to them, they haven't been found wanting too many times this season doing the business. And I think that's a credit to them, their character, how they represent themselves, their families, the football club. So yeah, I think that they've done incredibly well, and long may that continue. And I don't envisage them changing. They're a great set of lads. They really are.
Whenever we talk to them, they always speak so highly of each other. They speak highly of you, and they speak highly of their teammates. How much of that, where you are, comes down to that? That teamwork and that spirit that they've shown.
I tell them to speak highly of me, otherwise I won't pick them. I don't think they're changed. They do speak highly. The environment's everything. Is building and growing the environment, and I think that's probably what I've been doing from day one. And that's not to say the other boys that have been here weren't part and parcel of the environment, because from the time I come in, even with the original lads that I inherited, that I'll never ever forget. Don't forget that time. I spent a lot of time in hospital, and they were still here day after day without their manager. So I'll never forget any of them. There's been lots of comings and goings at the club, but it's all a journey, isn't it? All of it. And this is the latest part of the journey, and I'm sure there'll be more along the way here.
Cheers, thank you.
Okay.